Good evening, televiewers. Welcome to this the edition of Prime on My Media Prime TV. Tonight, we're going to be looking at the possible reasons behind the viral indecent videos making waves across social media handles, where we find children, students smoking and engaged in all manner of obscene activities in classes. What is not going right with our school system? So many parents are getting very worried about what is happening back there in school for their kids, especially those who are in boarding schools. Who actually bears the responsibility for the growing, very nonchalant, deviant attitude displayed by students in our different schools? Is it the school that is not disciplined enough? Is it parents who are also not handling their children very well at home? Is it the effect of social media? Or it is the society generally that is going deviant? We are looking at this with my panelist who is with me, my guest who is in the studio with me, Madam Telelent Ambunya, who is an educationist par excellence. She has headed schools out here in Douala, and also a PhD candidate.
No, masters.
A master's candidate out there in the university.
Pushing it.
In the University of Boya. Good evening. We're glad to have you.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, all our viewers. It's a sensitive and exciting topic. When I saw it, I just told Mr. Leo, this is just what I like to talk about. Because something is wrong, something has to be done, something needs to be done. I hope we'll be able to contribute to what has to be done, how it should be done, or even why it should be done in the first place.
Yes, we'll start by asking, what do these viral videos tell us about the moral and disciplinary state of our secondary schools today?
It is evident that there is decadence, and it makes me remember my literature teacher, the late Bate Bisson. He used to always talk about moral decadence, and to us it used to be funny. He says, because when there's moral decadence, there is nothing that will work. When there's moral decadence, there's going to be economic decadence. He constantly talked about that. For us, it was fun. But when I think of it now, indeed, it's a problem, because nothing is working right when the school is not working right. Because schools form the future, the people who will sustain the tomorrow. This is a formal setup put in place by governments to be able to help structure what has to come. So if we have children in schools now transforming classrooms into circuits or beer parlors or nightclubs and hotels or beds and so on, one really begins to wonder what we will have for tomorrow. Mr. Leo, it's something to worry about. There's moral decadence everywhere. Generally, society is rotten, if I would say it.
But if society is rotten, yes, the school is that milieu where minds are molded. It should be a clear contrast of what obtains in the society, because we're talking about a school.
Yes, Mr.
Leo. Where the leaders of tomorrow are formed.
Yes.
If in schools we now have people who are engaged in drug, in sex, and in almost every thing, how do we then understand what the school is now?
Well, it is just interesting to note that when we talk about a school, I often would tell parents, permit me to just use this interlude to explain the point. When a parent comes to me and say, can you recommend a good school for me? I go like, there is no good school. Because that school you call a good school is because there was a good teacher there. And if at the time you're going there, that good teacher is not there, then there's no good school. So the first thing to question is the quality of the persons working in these schools. Now, when we look at who is a teacher today, what brought them into teaching, why are they teaching, I think all of that will be a pointer to where the problem is at the level of the schools. But again, we do agree that schools don't manufacture children. These children come from somewhere. So when these children come from somewhere, that somewhere will certainly have a role to play for the schools to function well. If we, in your days, in my days, I can barely remember. In fact, my dad never came to school from Form 1 to Upper Seed. I don't think he knew my school the day he dropped me off. That was it. But today, many a times, things that happen in school are disrupted, interrupted, and twisted by the influence of people outside the school. So it makes it difficult for schools to really put in place certain strategies that would help mold these children in the way the people of yesteryears were molded. So I think that the school has a role, but in our discussion, we'll certainly have to look at other things that might be making it difficult.
Yeah, the school has a role. You're raising an issue. Is there any reason to doubt the quality of those who now teach in our secondary schools?
There is a big reason to doubt. I remember, especially in the little French they used to teach us in those days, I remember several times we were given a question like, l'enseignement, if I don't say it properly, don't laugh at me. L'enseignement est une vocation ou un métier. That question constantly repeated itself in French. And what was the sense behind this? Is teaching a calling or a profession or an occupation? These three may look like they are the same, but there is something that makes them different. Today, most teachers are teaching as an occupation, something to keep them busy while they get food on their table. So you can't compare them with the teachers of yesterday who made a choice. If I have to call, we lost one principal recently. He was a Soban, but he was the first principal, a black principal in my ex-student school. He had a choice as a mathematician in those days to go for anything he wanted, but he chose to go to teaching. So you don't expect the behavior of such a man towards children to be the same like someone who's dropped applications everywhere 5 years after they had the first degree and they didn't have any call and there was no answer, and then they keep telling him at home, oh, you're old, you need to step out, and finally he said, okay, I hear that there's a primary school there, let me go and see. Or I hear that there's a new private college here, let me go and see. So they come there as a last resort to be keeping themselves busy while eating as they look for what they want to do. So with this kind of foundation, Mr. Leo, you won't doubt the product or what they will give. Some of them get there. I speak as one who is in the call. These children feed us. Sometimes you have some parents who, I remember once I had to call a girl and tell her, if I see you with 5,000 in front of the driver, if I see you with 5,000 francs again in this school, I will come and beat you in your mother's house. Because for me it was an insult. Why would a parent give a girl child in secondary school from 5,000 francs to spend in school? So you come and you buy food for me, this teacher, who cannot afford to eat. Mr. Leo, how do I correct that kind of child? How do I put discipline in place? One parent once contacted me to ask if I could recommend a teacher in PSS Bafut who can be washing the child's clothes over the weekend, since the child doesn't know how to wash clothes. And I asked the mama, I said, Mama, donc si un enseignant lave l'habit de l'enfant le week-end, il repasse et donne à l'enfant dimanche, l'enfant porte ça lundi, entre en classe, cet enseignant peut parler à l'enfant. You know, so all of these things, that's why I say, Mr. Leo, the society may blame us, those of us who are in schools, but we have lots of things.
What is the problem? Yeah, what about those, anyway, you say they take it as an
occupation, maybe? As
an occupation, an alternative,
yes.
The last resort.
The last resort, an alternative,
yeah,
really.
Can we also say that teachers today have so much divided attention? He is a teacher, he's a businessman, he's a farmer, and where the greatest attention is given is where the greatest source of income comes. So I just come to class, I flash, I don't care what happens to the children. My focus, my time, energy is given more to my farm and maybe the business that gives me much money.
Okay, Mr. Leo, that is exactly what is happening. But what got the teachers to this point? You know, if I usually prefer to just speak simply so that everyone can understand. But if we go into educational foundation, we'll be talking about theories, where we have the ecological system theory that talks about every aspect that affects a child. Now, this teacher has to eat in his own house, and he has been to school. The government recruits. I want to start with that extra large, that macro picture of it. The government employs or recruits, does the whether 3,000 or 25,000, and everyone knows you got a job, but you work for 2, 3, 4, 5 years without a salary, Mr. Leo. How would that person be paying just the transportation fare to go to work? So I must look for something to do. The first business we teachers do is private classes. And for that private classes to function, we need to hold back something from the classroom so that there is a gap for us to go and feel at home. And when we get to the homes, we have to feel. You get there, you have not eaten since morning, and you sit, they are roasting and frying chicken and all of that, and then you sit there, and then a nanny comes to you and say, Madam, I'm sit there serving. So, Mr. Leo, there is so much. It's either I'm going to eat and then I can't talk, or I'm going to look for a way to make sure that I have what to eat while waiting for salaries to go through. Come to the private sector where I am. How much do they pay teachers in the private sector? Who is coming to check? And how would you come and check? I would always say, how do you come and check somebody's business when you don't have a share in it? If the government had a share in the private businesses that runs education, then the government will be able to say something. Somebody wouldn't go to the bank, borrow, take a loan, invest, and then you want to tell him how he's going to pay teachers. It's not going to work. So there are all of these things, Mr. Leo, that I say before we settle down to evaluate or pass judgment on schools. We need to look at all these external factors that will influence the actions or the reactions from schools towards learners.
Okay, very, very sensitive topic. Where does the biggest responsibility lie? Parents, school authorities, students, or the society at large?
Mr. Leo, that question is like asking me, your mom and your dad, who contributed the most in who you are? My dad gave a sperm, my mom gave an egg. Each one has a unique thing they contributed to have me here. And in my growing up, each one of them had something. It's hard for me to choose. In the same light, what is happening in society is hard to say who has the biggest responsibility, because these responsibilities are independent of each other. Yes, the woman can only conceive and give birth, but she can't do that without a man. So the same thing happens. Children live from homes. If I would just go on a big theory that talks about nature and nurture, every child carries something from the parents. And then the society has what it's going to give. Now, if we come from that, it means that every character or behavior or attitude I display, I carry something of it from my lineage, or my lineage, as some people will call it. Now, whenever I find myself in an environment, that environment may enhance that thing or kill it. You see, I always say that if I teach a learner, the first thing you will know I've taught that learner is the way they're going to talk to you. My learners speak boldly, they speak loudly, because somehow I carry something in me that gives a push to my voice. But you know, there are some children that no matter how much they want to speak, their voice can't go loud, because they don't carry the genetics, the genes of that ability to push their voices. But any child that has that deposit that I took from my parents, if you hear my mom's voice, you will know that that's my mom, because it comes with energy, it comes with power. But that would not have been seen if I had done something like accounting. You know, because with accounting, you don't talk with papers, you just use the pen. But being a teacher, I replicate that of my mother. And people who know my mother will tell me, oh, when you talk, we just think of your mom. So every child carries something from the parents. Now, this thing, as they grow, they observe what is happening around them. Sometimes we parents don't know that we are the ones who plant the seed in the children. I will ask, for heaven's sake, why would a mother dress a girl child of 2 years old with a crop top? Why? Then tomorrow when she goes and she's drinking or smoking in the classroom, we're surprised. Why on earth, Mr. Leo, your mother did not dress your sisters that way? She wore them. We wore cha-cha gowns that had something here, and they were all like kaba. That's what we knew as baby clothes. But now you see baby clothes, the diaper is inside, the tights, the collant, as we call them in Cameroon here, will be tight in the child's, and then there's a crop top. That child wears that from the age of 1 till the age of 6 till the age of 8. Then you send them to secondary school, as we don't even allow them to fully develop. We send them to secondary school at the age of 10. What do we expect? That another young student will not tell them stories and they won't believe? And we also have all of these movies or whether TV novellas or whatever things that these kids watch. So if children learn by imitation, as one of the theorists will say, the social learning theory of Bandura, he says children learn by observing, then they start imitating, and as they imitate, they begin to model and form behavior. So if they see these things happening every other time, you're driving on the street, you have a big screen in front of you, you see a woman and a man kissing. In our days, I mean, I would say it, I don't remember going to visit my friend or I meet the mom and the dad kissing, or even in our own house. But today it's not uncommon. So when these children see these things, they just copy. I spent more than 10 years in the early years in nursery. You will see children saying, I saw my mommy and my daddy, they keep having these conversations. My mommy and my daddy were doing, they will call one of these names and this other one. Well, we think it's civilization. And if it's civilization, then let's accept what civilization is giving us. Otherwise, let's get back to the roots and make sure that we maintain the values that we receive from our parents. Yes, we can be romantic without being immodest. That's possible.
So you think that the parents contribute enormously to what we harvest in our schools?
I think so, Mr. Leo. I am a parent. I think so. I was talking with my neighbor when this thing came out. I told her, I said, in your days and in my days, this thing would not happen because we didn't have a picture of what it meant to do such a thing in the public. Because even in our days, you remember parents, daddies came back from work, they sent us to go and buy a bottle of something and bring to them to drink. But now it's not uncommon that daddies will leave work and they're hanging out and return home till 10 p.m. So what happens to the children in between that time? Who is there? So, while daddy is out, mommy too is also there, chasing after Hanjangi, chasing after. So there are lots of gaps even before we get to the schools. And when the schools try to call up the gap, I'm going to cite an incident that happened in a school this academic year, just the first half. That was sometime in October. And I happened to be there as someone to give guidance. And the parents of that school will recognize as they're watching us. A teacher caught a student with a phone in the classroom, and as they went through, the vice principal went through the phone with the discipline master, they saw nude pictures. And when they invited the parents, this parent was saying that no, the boy who took this picture of this girl is because they are like brothers, they grew up together. It's some come their friends on grandeur. So if we are like brothers, Mr. Leo, because we are like brothers, I should be showing you my nude? Why on earth should that happen? So you see, all of these things, in our days, I'm telling you the truth, your father would join the principal and beat you in front of the school, and then they go home again and beat you. Then your uncle will come and beat you. So the fear of beatings kept most of us from doing some of those things. Which preserved us.
You are saying that parents are contributing enormously to the terrible behaviors or acts posed in our respective schools by students. But do parents actually know? Because there is a tendency for parents to think that the upbringing of the child depends on the teachers because they are paying them. Do they really know that they have a great role to bring these children up?
That's the gap. In fact, if my daughter's school is listening to you, they will tell you that the last PTA, all the PTAs have attended since she entered the school. That's the question I ask. You will call parents here, you will say, these children are not serious, these children, you parents need to follow up. And I said, how? Mr. Leo, the how? The how must be given to them. That is why we need intervention in the schools. We need someone to make the parents to know, as they say in Africa and they say in Pidgin in Cameroon, you born Pekin, you don't feel look under my Pekin pass your own. So no matter who the teacher is, the teacher cannot replace the parent. There's only so much. The name of your daddy has a role to play in a child's mental mind, but a daddy is absent, then mommy too is absent. What can the teacher do? Because when you just tell a child, I will call your daddy to school, there is some order that goes into the mind to put them on the right track. we used to play. I don't know about you, but I'm sure it's the same thing because we are almost of the same period. We used to play with our friends or just visiting. You just hear somebody, this my papa, they come. We don't need to know who the papa is. And everybody scatters.
Any father from the quarter, once they appear, everybody scatters.
Everybody scatters. So if daddies now have left that role because of the demands of society, because if he's unable to pay the fees, people will not understand. He's forced to work. And then in the process of working, he's not available. And nobody understands that. So somebody needs to draw his attention and help him with planning on how to follow up at a distance, even if you're at work.
Yeah, but even is it really that issue of time? Because you have parents who spend 5-4 hours in bars.
Exactly.
Weekends, they still do not have time to look into what their children do or not.
Yes.
Are they really conscious of the fact that they are supposed to do follow-up of their kids? Many persons send their children to boarding school simply because
they want to avoid that.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. That's why I say we need intervention. We need to educate parents. They don't know, Mr. Liu. Some of these parents, they run away from the trouble. So they stay away as a coping strategy to the realities at home. They don't want to come, and then the child will say, Daddy, they said that history book you did not buy. So their own way of managing is they're going to stay out and get home when the kids are sleeping. But they don't know that in doing that, all what they are trying to build, they are like leaving a hollow between the building and the foundation, and it's not going to stand. It's not going to last. We need to do something. PTAs, we need to do something in the PTAs to tell parents that there is so much they need to do that they are not doing, and it doesn't require intellectual knowledge. If it required intellectual knowledge, all the great people that we can name today who were raised by parents who didn't even speak English. My dad went to school, succeeded. My grandma didn't speak English until she died. She spoke only the dialect. The day she came to visit me in the boarding school, everybody was laughing because she was talking and nobody was understanding until she found a Bangwa girl who understood and then came for me. But she's raised a son who succeeded and has given birth to 9 children and has raised those children. So parents don't need academic know-how to follow up their children. What they need is responsibility know-how. What is my responsibility? How firm is my responsibility? How can I be responsible and still be loving? That is what they need. And if they know that, then they would have done it. And if I would just give a guidelines on how that can happen, I think we can summarize that on some 4 things that, like I call the 4 keys that I tell parents about. You need to be attached with your child, and to be attached to the children doesn't mean that you should buy the love. Oh my children know it. I tell them, I said, I don't need to buy love from you, because the love I get from you is automatic. The love you get from me is automatic. I don't need to please you for you to love me. You don't have to please me for me to love you. It's a responsibility. If parents know that, they will not be afraid to discipline.
Okay. This one says, I'm very impressed with your guest. The teacher is delivering quality information and sound.
My God, thank
very
you.
Knowledgeable. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Moral decadence of students today is not the cause of teachers. You will not expect teachers to play the magic wand to transform a morally decayed child from their home. The teachers plays an advisory role, and the parents have both the advisory and punitive role to play.
Very true.
Come to talk of teachers are by the Cameroon law prohibited from administering corporal punishment. Teachers should be left to rest. This is Emo Mulu writing from Bomenda. This issue of corporal punishment, was it a wise move by the Ministry of Secondary Education?
Well, I usually would say that Cameroon believes in divinity, and one of the sources of divinity in Cameroon is the Bible.
Okay.
And the Bible says folly is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction will drive it away. So from that perspective, if the Bible, and we believe that God made us, and the Bible is his book of instruction to us, if he says Cain will drive folly out of the heart of a child, then it means that the Cain has a role to play. But let us not forget that before the government to arrive at that decision is because there was abuse of the Cain. But now, because there was abuse, should we abolish a principle that works? I will say it to my learners all the time. I didn't do homework because I understood the importance of homework. I did homework because I knew what the class 7 teacher would do in the morning if I didn't do homework. Because I didn't want that thing. The boys, they will bounce you up. With the girls, they will whip our backs. Because I was scared of my back being whopped, I decided that I would do homework. Not because I understood that doing homework would bring me success. You know, but now in doing the homework, I ended up in success. If having intelligence is success, then I got it. Now, if that thing was not done, like in our days where it's a parent, Mr. Leo, those of us who are in the classroom, who will call you to say, madam, we went for weekend and the child is so tired, so he did not do the homework. Really? So daddy will be so tired that he will not be able to do the work he was supposed to do to get money? It's because parents don't see that these children are daddies and mommies of tomorrow. So we need to lay some foundations. But the teachers, I also tell teachers all the time that the cane is not the only way of correction. I have gotten children who were recalcitrant and who had abandoned home to get back on track. And if one of you is listening, please just write and give your story to Mr. Leo to share. Without the cane, I went to a house that's something like, because that guy is an accountant today, so that's something like 8-10 years ago. Yeah, that was around 2011. This child had problems with school, so the parents called me because they said they heard about me and my way of working with kids. While I was working with the child, another boy passed in uniform, and I asked him, I said, is that your brother? He said, no, it's the boy that is helping my parents at home. I said, and he's going to school, your parents are good. He said, yes, it's the family of the boy that said they should put him in school. They don't want them to pay him. I said, wow. So you know what? Now that you cannot understand everything they teach you, you don't understand. Be nice to this boy, because as he is going, he will succeed. He said, madam, the boy has sense. I say, very good. He will succeed. And when your father dies, is that boy who will manage your father's money. Because he's closer to your father. You are sitting here watching TV and eating ice cream. Every day I come, you have like 4 markers in front of you. Now I didn't use a cane. Mr. Leo, do I need to tell you? If you're listening to me, my boy, I don't want to call your name. Write to Mr. Leo. That boy did not only go to school, he heard about somebody counting his father's money. Their house is the first house I knew as a triplex. I always know about duplex, but that building was the first triplex I saw in my life. So that thing, he was in Form 3. That thing put sense in his head. He went, he did O levels, did A4, and as I speak to you, he's his father's accountant.
Wow.
So we can transform children without a cane. If the government has taken away the cane from us, let us whip their brains. And for you to whip their brains, you need to have something, first of all, inside of you. What do you as a teacher believe in? If there's something you believe in, then you can make a change.
Could we be living this also because of the excessive use of the mobile phone? Not only mobile phones.
That's what I was just going to say. Not only mobile phones, social media as a whole. Like I said to you, Mr. Leo, my way to this place, you have screens, and the government allows it. We have these public screens where football matches are going on. In between the football matches, we have adverts. What are they advertising? You can't control an advert. If they have paid, they have paid. So you need to, okay, they know that this thing, and they're advertising a perfume, and the perfume, they want to show how this perfume is going to attract the opposite sex. And so in between class time from the classrooms, a child is able to be watching TV across the road. The rules we knew about positioning of school and businesses, or the things around the school, we don't see them today. Either there was a school and businesses came and made the school and nobody talked, or businesses were there and somebody bought land in between businesses and made a school and nobody is talking. So social media, we cannot make light of it. Mr. Leo, can you say what I did when I was 16? Is it possible? There was no social media. And I tell my girl children, I am telling you, what we did, you will never know. But your time is delicate, because at every point, at any instance, somebody is watching you. Somebody could be filming you from a building 3 kilometers away from you with all the complicated gadgets that we have today. And you just sit someday, you've been appointed a director or the minister of, or the wife of a president, and somebody shoots something about you in your teenage. My dear children, you should think about that. So let the blame not just be mommy, daddy, or we the teachers. How about you? If I have to address your own page, you have the responsibility, because at the end of the day, it's your life. You're going to live that life. So the children too do have their own responsibility in that.
The children have the responsibility in that. Should mobile phones be banned or strictly regulated in secondary schools?
Mobile phones cannot be banned. That one cannot be, because
school.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, that it cannot be, because it has become an integral part of the human life. So the second part of your sentence is what should be. There should be a regulation of it. Even at workplaces, Mr. Leo, companies are beginning to regulate. In the schools where I work now, they regulate mobile phones. When we get in the morning, you drop your phone at the secretaries. Because nowadays, it's not like the time where they will write a letter to you and 3 months after it has not arrived. Immediately, the parent that's in trouble, they may want to call the child. But if it's regulated, okay, we have all the phones there and we have control on them, fine. That can be done. But to say we're going to eradicate mobile phones is not going to work. Because I tell parents, between the school and the home, I had this argument all the time in PTA meetings. Between the school and the home, we have cyber cafes. How do you control the children going there? So mobile phones is not only the issue. It's all about technology, the media, where they find themselves now. It is a problem to the parents, to the teachers, to the school, to the society, to the church. It's a huge problem. So what we need to be thinking about is strategies to manage this development, this civilization that has come in and must be with us. It has to be with us. Teachers give children homework now and they say, research. Where should they do the research? Do you know that the 30 minutes daddy or mommy gives their phone, these children are able to manipulate it and delete every history, and the parent will not know what they were doing there? So to abolish is difficult. There are parents who have been shocked, Mr. Leo, to come to school that their child was involved in a phone scandal or whatever, and then they're like, who gave the child a phone? And they are surprised. So you have 4 parents standing there, and all 4 parents are swearing that they didn't buy a phone for the children, but all 4 children have phones that are sophisticated, more than 50,000 francs. Secondary school children, where did they get the money from?
Yeah, but the schools doing enough to monitor students' phone usage and online behavior? Are they doing? Should they even, or are there policies that guides this?
Mr. Leo, I would say that most schools in Cameroon are yet to even get to that position of having children come phones in school or social media available. We talk about computers. We barely have schools with computer labs. So schools think that they have done their best. I would still repeat it because I work with them. They have put the rules, no bringing of phones in the classroom. One incident that happened just November, as the principal of that school was recounting how she got the phone. A girl child in high school was wanting to pee and stooping in class, telling the teacher she wants to pee. And the way she went out is what attracted the attention of a female teacher, going to help, thinking that maybe it's menstrual cramps or something, whereas it was phone vibrating in her pant. But this is a child that was checked at the gate. Now, if a male teacher has to check a girl child's pant, what will we say? We will say the teachers are exaggerating. So he could only check the bag, bring out your pocket. She brought out her pockets, there was no phone. But there she is in the classroom and the phone is vibrating. The teacher can't hear vibration. So she wants to pee. She wants to pee and the teacher says no. And the way she's dancing, the teacher is like, okay, I can refuse that this girl is going to pee on herself in class. And that's going to be shameful. Go out. And as nature will have it, the female teacher followed to bring help. And they heard, so she just stood and heard it was a conversation. So as she was opening the door, the female teacher said, give me the phone. I heard you talking with somebody. I saw the way you went out of class. I thought you had a problem. I thought it was sickness or disease or an emergency. And that's how they got the phone. And then the rest of the things. And then they realized that there were many children with the same issue, because they told her, if you're not bringing out all your friends with whom you communicate in this school with the phones, we're going to dismiss you alone. And she had to speak. But do you know, Mr. Leo, we are very sure as teachers that there were some that were not pointed out. So what do we do in such cases? What do we do? What would the parents do? The parents did not buy the phone.
Now, Mr. Leo, the whole thing is complex. Look at the ages of teachers. At 25 years, you are given literature in opposite. That class needs mature teachers. Ndong F. Kum is writing from Fumbot. Is that not also a problem where the selection process of those who are even given charge to mold these students? Just anybody who is available is given the chalk to go and teach.
That's it, Mr. Leo. That's why I said from the beginning that policies, we can't talk about this without going to the macro system, which is the government, the policies. Like this guy rightly said, when we were going to school, it's true we thought we were younger, but even now when I look at the ages of the people who taught high school, at least they were at least 30 years older, at least 30 and above. But today you will see a guy just graduates from secondary school, high school, at 16 they have A levels, and then they are teaching at 18, they are still children themselves. And that's why I say it's easy for these decadents to infiltrate, because he's just left school, he's hungry, and then another 18 years old comes with food to school, and they say, please sir, can you have this one? And it takes, before you know it, they are all eating from the same plate. They are all, so what do we expect? And how many scandals do we have nowadays of teachers into relationship with students? Believe me, Mr. Leo, it's not only the male teachers with students, even female teachers. I was talking to the class 6 of one of the schools where I work, telling the young boys in class 6 and showing them a video of a female teacher who had an affair with a class 6 boy. I told them, I said, even you can be abused. Let's not only think that it's girl children who are abused, even boy children are being abused. So the thing is just everywhere, and it's really complex, like the televiewer said. It's a complex situation. That's why I say, to say who has the blame is a difficult one to say. We all have a portion of a blame in this matter.
Good evening to you in the studio, Mr. Leo. The topic for discussion is very important and interesting. I would say 3 pillars have a role to play in the success of students. That is the school, which is made up of the administration and the teachers, the parents and the society, the students themselves. If these 3 are not in one, success will not be achieved. Madame Bienbo, okay, we say teacher.
Yes.
How effective are guidance and counseling units in our schools, if at all they exist?
That's the question I have always asked. These people who graduate from guidance and counseling, what do they really do? Because if they will go by guidance and counseling, they will start by counseling school administrators on processes that may infringe on discipline. So guidance and counseling shouldn't only be for the learners, because when you're counseling the learners how to behave and you don't check the person who has to supervise the behavior, there's going to be a problem. Again, I'll go back to the Bible, which is the book we believe as Christians is our instructional book. When I grew up, I knew every adult would tell me Ephesians 6 verse 1 and 2 says, children, obey your parents. But Mr. Leo, do you know that is when I grew up that I discovered that there was verse 4? And what does verse 4 say? Verse 4 says, and you parents, don't provoke your children to anger. No adult told me that when I was growing up. So you see, with this one-sided thing, most children will store bitterness, store anger, store provocation, store all of these things, and they're just waiting for the slight opportunity of freedom, and then they explode. Some of these children who behave like this in school, if you go home, Mr. Leo, these children, their parents will tell you they don't talk. He's very obedient, because all of their freedom of expression and being themselves at home is taken away by rules and regulations. It is taken away by strict principles that have no consideration of growth. Again, as I told you, we need to intervene in schools, because where these children are, it's a phase where they are struggling with identity. Who am I? So they want somebody to love them. They want somebody to accept them. At home, their mother who gave birth to them, every time she opens her mouth to speak. Recently, in one of the schools, and the parents might be listening to me, a child ran away from home, from 3 child. And it so happened that in putting on our status, it's somebody who saw it on my status who found the child. So I was involved in the process of bringing the child home. And this thing I'm saying is exactly what happened. Immediately we saw the child, the first reaction from the father was to punch. You know, you're punching, you have not listened to what made her. If you try to punch and then she decides not to jump into the road and the car crushes her, and there's so many things. So in as much as children have the responsibility of obeying us, it will be easier for us to manage them if we allow them to be themselves. Most times I tell you, when they call parents at school, they are shocked at the thing their children have done, because they don't know that version of the child. And I would tell parents, and I'm still saying it, your child has 3 versions at least. They have the version at home, they have the version with their friends, and they have the version in the school campus. Sometimes for a few of them, the version at home will resemble the version at school. For others, it's the version with the friends that resembles the version at school. But for most of them, over 90% of them, I may say, they are distinct persons in each of these places. For us parents to be able to help them, we need to know them. Engage meaningful conversations. And when I tell parents meaningful conversations, I say you should be ready for an answer that will shock you, and then you try in that shock to keep a face without an expression, so that you have the conversation to the end. Mr. Liu, one day my daughter returned home and asked me, Mom, when did boys started talking to you and telling you they like you? Why would she ask me that kind of question? Because maybe because I'm privileged as a teacher, and in teaching other children, my children happen to be among. I told her, I said, as young as I can remember when I was in Form 1. He said, because I'm surprised. So an opposite boy spoke to me today. It's when she was in Form 4. Now she's in lower seed. And from that conversation, I could tell her about being respectful, yet drawing the line and waiting for the right time. Because if you tell them to, hey, don't, if a boy talks to you, don't just look at them. She might send her husband away without knowing, because none of us holds the future. So there is a respectful way of telling the boy, I am now on my books. Maybe you should return with this story after I'm done with my school. So if my daughter could engage that conversation, I keep saying to other mothers, it may be because I'm blessed that speaking as a teacher is easier than speaking as a mother. So in the platform of me speaking to students, my children benefit to hear what I say to other children, and that has made it easy for me. If you can't engage such conversations, well, you might use an auntie or an uncle that is a friend to that child to engage such conversations. They need somebody to guide them, otherwise their friends are going to guide them. And when their friends celebrate them, then they want to belong. Because all of this, like I said, I'm just trying to keep it simple, all of these are theories that are proven.
No. If you think that the guidance counselors are not doing enough, what would be responsible for that? Is it the fact that they are half-baked, they do not know what is expected of them, or the fact that the schools underutilize them?
I think that is because the policies are not strong enough.
What policies? The
policies that put the guardian and counseling in place.
But they are trained and they are sent to do their job.
Most of them, I know about 2 or 3 of them who don't have an office. How do you counsel in the open air? You are sent to a school, you don't have an office. So you just hang around. How counseling is something that should be done in an environment that is welcoming. Now you don't have an office. That's why I say the policies that are put in place did not check everything. A guidance and counselor's office should always have things, just a simple thing like a candy or a biscuit or a bottle of water. Because in the process of counseling, you, Mr. Leo, you do counseling with all these numerous people who write to you. Have been sometimes people who write to you on their personal issues. Why? You have created a virtual comfortable zone. So with kids, a child needs to walk into an office, and a guidance counselor's office, and she just says, please lie down, I see you're tired, before questioning what brought you here. And that child just sitting down to lie down, she might just go from there and say, by the way, you're tired, I have the impression you don't sleep well at home. And from that, something might just unravel itself, and you get a whole history of things that a child is going through. Okay, that first day may not work. The child may just say, okay, nothing. So, okay, I just wanted to talk with you. Not calling the child and telling the child, it has come to my knowledge that you are a troublesome child. Okay, the child already builds barriers. It came to my knowledge. Okay, if it came to your knowledge, it means when I'm not there, people sit to talk about me. So who is the teacher? So every teacher that enters a class, the child is gauging in their mind to see who is the suspect of the one who gave that negative report. So I think that if the guidance counselors are not bringing in enough support to the children or to the school environment, it is probably because the package was not well prepared, or in the process of unraveling, they didn't unravel properly. So the delivery becomes a little complex for them.
Yeah, but we have schools with offices, with guidance counselors with offices. I don't know how effective they have delivered so far. Let me take some messages. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love your show. This is Tita Nuruddin from Yaoundé. The issues of students drinking and smoking in school is becoming so serious. In most schools, children nowadays are becoming something else, disrespectful, but I think the school have to take its responsibility. Yeah, I don't know. Is it an issue of discipline also that is lacking?
Yeah,
in our schools?
Yeah, discipline is lacking in our schools because, Mr. Lu, like I said before, most teachers think that discipline is equivalent to a cane or is equal to a cane. Let me put it that way. They believe that since the government took away the cane, the government took away discipline. No. I keep telling teachers, and I will say it, the cane is just one method to discipline. there are several other methods. And if you go with reinforcement and motivation and all of those theories, you would see that there are several ways you can beat a child, you can correct a child or beat their mind to think properly and bring them to order and discipline them without necessarily brutalizing their flesh or inflicting pain on them. One time I asked teachers in a conference, I said, what should we be doing in school? Should we be punishing children or should we be correcting them? And the topic, my title for that presentation was punishment or correction in school. Most teachers would believe that they should punish a child. And I said, okay, if you want to punish a child, that's fine. They feel the pain, but the act remains. Okay, a child comes late, like in the PTA, one of the PTAs, I was talking to the school authorities. I said, when children come late to school and you guys close the gate as a sign of discipline, how does it correct the lateness? Because I think if a child is late and the teacher is angry, is that they're going to miss lessons. But now if the child comes late, they have missed 15 minutes lesson, and you lock the gate that they should stay out, they're going to miss 45 minutes lesson. And if it was double period, it's 90 minutes lesson. How have you corrected that action? I told them, I said, if my child is late, please lock him in the campus, let him stand in the middle of the school till the end of the day. Another thing I pointed out to them, I said, because when you close the gate and tell them to go, they begin to form camps and they will deliberately come late, so that you should close the gate and then they can go and do these things that we are seeing on social media. Because they are neither at home nor at school. They have been left to the community, to the open space where everyone struggles to do what is befitting for them. So discipline is not equals to whipping children with the cane. Discipline, I always say, begins with me. It is for teachers to know what they have to do and do it rightly, such that the learners who learn by observation and by imitation will soon be modeling and forming behavior that will be acceptable. How do you explain, Mr. Leo, that a teacher tells children to keep quiet while answering a phone during lessons? I've met that several times, and I called the teacher and said, you're asking them to keep quiet. You are on the phone. Yes. Come on, keep quiet. Why are you people making this? Yes. Okay. Yes, that's how it was. Oh, they will model the same behavior. They will not see the reason why you should stop them from talking to that other student who is passing outside, who is not part of the class, because you talk to your own friends who are not in the classroom setting. Even though you use a phone and they don't have a phone, they will use their eyes, they will use pens to throw at a friend who is passing through the window. All of that is communication. So discipline begins with the teacher. It begins with the school authority. You, the head teacher, you, the principal, you, the discipline master. How do you behave in the school and out of school? How do you treat the teachers in school and out of school? That same behavior is what the children are going to replicate wherever they find themselves.
Okay. So many persons are writing to contribute to what we are discussing here tonight. We hope the lessons are going through. Thank you very much for coming to talk to our audience. But please, the genesis of our problems today in school lies with the legislator. Where is class 7 of yesteryears? Where is class 8? You must pass in 4 papers excluding religious knowledge. Don F is writing there. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love your show. This is okay. I'm sure I took that one already. Good evening, sir. Students snap their private and send to their friends. Parents don't even have time to check their kids' report cards, and now we allow pregnant kids in school. Is this the culture of education in Cameroon now? Good evening, Mr. Liu, and our mother on board. I am very happy for a program like this. My story is that I was very stubborn in school. When I was in Form 5, one of my teachers told me about a boy who behaved the same way I was behaving and ended up writing the GCE ordinary levels 5 times without passing. From that day, I became very serious with my studies. Up to today, I can never forget that teacher. I'm David, writing from Bonaberry. Good evening to you. Good evening to you in the studio, Mr. Liu. The topic of discussion is very important. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I strongly suggest schools intensify moral education across all levels. The caliber of facilitators is crucial. They should inspire and instill values. Making guidance counselors mandatory is a great step, alongside strict security checks at school gates. Also, the student counselor ratio needs attention for effective support. Buchocho Godowski, writing from Bonaberry. Yes, talking about moral education. I don't know how it obtains, but I'm sure it was very serious nowadays.
Yes, that's one thing that the government really needs to look at it, because when they, like this viewer has written, they would say religious knowledge is a paper, and then they put it, you know, if you have religious paper, then they don't count it as if you're passed. It means we are telling the children that what we teach in this subject is not important. So what we are educating is the head. We don't want to educate the heart. So you just have to go on and don't be considerate of how people feel, how people will respond, how my behavior will impact. All of that comes from the heart. It's not from the head. From the head is 1 + 1 = 2. From the head is subordinate clause plus main clause plus subordinate clause. From the head is Boya is a mountain, is the highest mountain in Cameroon. That's what comes from the head. But what comes from the heart is, how does that mountain in Boya help the community in Boya? It is only touching the heart that can make that mountain in Boya to be meaningful to the people in Boya. So when religious knowledge is downplayed, and then moral education is taken aside, and then human rights is taught from the wrong perspective, because now what is taught as human rights is the children's right. So children begin to question adults and question, why, who are you to talk to me, who are you, even my father has not spoken to me like that. So things are, we need to go back to the drawing board. We need to go back to the drawing board and put value on those things that shaped poor children from poor homes to become great men in the society, because they were taught that every seed you sow, you will reap. We were told that over and over. I remember our teachers saying that to us over and over. If you don't work hard, if you don't burn the midnight oil, you will not become. If you do this one, if you were expelled, like the viewer just put the case of pregnancy. That is a sensitive issue. Because it's true the girl child was at a disadvantage, but I think that route of managing it, allowing pregnant girl children in school, for me, I don't agree with that. It's true in the past, when a girl got pregnant, her life almost terminated and the boy went on. But there should have been policies to stop both of them at the same spot, or allowing one girl who is pregnant to come to school, and then she has the right, because we know what a pregnant woman is, and all those caprices of pregnancy that you don't mean to have, but they come. So in class, she just gets up sluggishly. She has the right to go out, because as a pregnant woman, she needs attention. The teacher can, if she's coming late, if she's sleeping in class, it's because of the pregnancy. Now she's treated like a queen. What do you expect from the others? She gets all the attention. Everyone is coming to check on her. So I think that route wasn't a great route. The government should have done it otherwise. Either they take up the girl child and ensure that they continue the sponsoring. In a case where the family got frustrated, they put in place structures to make these girl children continue, or they find a way to keep the boys to on hold. But allowing this in school, for me, I agree with that televiewer, that wasn't a good route. Yes, moral education taught us dignity. And dignity is something you can buy with money.
Now, when you say, let's get back to social media. What role is social media playing in encouraging risky and irresponsible behavior among students?
Mr. Leo, social media is doing a lot. I talk with children who will tell you, they will quote you, every child you talk to now in primary school. Today I had an activity in a school. Everybody wants to be a YouTuber. That's what they said to me.
An influencer.
An influencer. Yeah. I want to say, because it was a school where children speak French. An influencer. And what do? Oh, they will call this one. So everybody, money has become the focus. Not problem solving as it was in the past. People solved problems in the past and ended up with money. But now people go for money and create problems. So society has something to do with that. And the society now is social media. Social media presents a lot of fake information. With the coming of AI, it's just going to be worse. Because these children have dreams that that cannot be realistic. But they believe in them because somebody is presenting it on social media. And so they start taking their minds off. I remember in our days, yeah, there were things that talked to us about love, but there were things that you had to go through studies. You had to read Mills and Boons to be able to know what romance is. You had to read the pace setters. So there were things that went through and taught us some lessons. You were not seeing something with no justification, no explanation, no. I remember reading the undesirable element of the pace setters. I think I was in Form 1 or Form 2. With this pretty, nice, beautiful girl who ended up with a pregnancy that disrupted her life. And that is what I understood later on was the undesirable element. That pregnancy that came. But the love story seemed going well until that point. If I didn't read through the book, if somebody just showed me the love story on TV as they portray, maybe I would have thought that it's a good thing to be in school and then jump out with an allergy and then go off and don't care and then. So social media gives a lot of fake images, fake pictures, fake imaginations to the young people. And like I said, social media is everywhere.
Social media is everywhere. There is the impact of these ladies who call themselves influencers,
yes.
Social media influencers.
Yes.
They paint a picture of glamour, easy life, and a host of others.
Yes.
They drink champagne, they smoke.
That's it.
Yes, they film themselves in very luxurious hotel rooms and apartments. Can we say that they are looked upon by many of these young girls as the models?
That's it.
Is that not also a core issue? How do we even regulate this? How do we bring these influencers to understand that they are negatively impacting the young girls in our secondary schools?
I was saying to somebody, Mr. Leo, you've just said it. I was saying to somebody that if I had the policy, because the government has control over what we should see and what we should not see. They have control. If, as we are here now, they don't want what we are saying to go out, they don't need our opinion. They just need a call and that thing is going to stop. So if everyone is doing what they're supposed to do in their position, some of these things will not have roots. Okay, before, when we were younger, they used to say to be a Miss Cameroon or Miss whatever, it was beauty. But what happened? At one point, they said, no, it will include academics. How many people do you see going now for Miss Beauty? We don't hear those things around, because the people there try to regulate such that this thing should not be a way of dropping out for many children. Okay, now these influencers do all these things and present these fake pictures. And like I started off from the beginning, I said there are theories that justify this. Children learn by observing. And as they observe, they would just automatically imitate unconsciously, because they are conditioned by that thing. They constantly see somebody. It happens even with you, an adult. You hear your neighbor is playing a song over and over, you're not the one playing it, and then one morning you find yourself singing that song. Because your mind has been observing something that is repeatedly happening around it. So it picks images of that and it encodes it. And when it encodes it, at a time of dormancy, whatever is there is just like the idling picture that comes up on the computer. Nobody's touching it, but on the idle, sometimes you see it's a mango or whatever things that are floating. Your mind starts reproducing. So these children who have been observing and are imitating behavior, when they meet together, it becomes as if it's a catalyst for them to try out. Have you seen this one? No, I've not seen it. Go and look at it. And then they go, who can do it? So, by just imitating, they don't have time to evaluate the consequences. Like I said to this young girl, when I heard she collapsed, one of them collapsed, I was like, why is she collapsing? Because she didn't think through to the end. She was just doing something, she thought it was a classroom. But that is dawning on her that, no, it wasn't just a classroom, that the world today is global. And from where everybody is sitting, they can see what I'm doing.
Okay,
so
it's just that I did not deem it necessary to project these videos.
Yeah.
You've seen so many videos of students actually acting a scene of getting married.
Yes.
In school.
Yeah.
their videotapes.
Yeah.
You've seen two girls
Yeah.
actually engaging in intimate
relationship
inside the class.
Inside the
But
class.
all of these are filmed, and they now find themselves on social media. How do we get this? They are filmed with their phones. How do we get this regulated?
We need to educate them. Like I said, there is a story, Mr. Leo, maybe you will check on that after this. When these videos came out, it was just last week, I had to talk to the class 6 children of one school in Douala here. I brought out the story of that Matt and Laura. When they were in preschool, that's 3 years old, Matt got up and said he was going to get married to Laura when he was big. But the parents managed that relationship. I was telling them, I said, it is not about me stopping this thing because it's an instinct. It will come. And I use an example. I said, my dear children, if you're hungry and you're walking on the road, you see a trash can, are you going to eat from it? They said, no. I said, why? They said, because you don't eat from the trash can. I said, no, that's not the reason. Because you know where you have to eat. So if you know where you have to eat and you're hungry, what you do is you rush to the place where you have to eat. And if you get home, mom has not finished cooking, do you return to go and eat at the trash can? No. You wait for mom to finish your food. I told them, I said, it's the same thing. Hunger instinct is the same like the sexual instinct. You will not control it, my children. It will come. But I'm showing you the story of Laura and Matt that you might just feel as if you go and ask that boy at 3 years, I don't think he understood what marriage was. He saw his parents married, but there was something about him that he just felt attracted to this child. So he told his teacher, and the teacher banished it by just telling him, okay, my dears, when you grow big and talk to them about marriage. They separated at elementary school. You know, they went their ways. And then somehow, as God will have it, Laura was asking for a phone from her friend to look for the number, and then she saw the name, and she told her friend that this name reminds me of one of my favorite friends in kindergarten. And when Laura talked, can I get the number? And she called the guy. And Mr. Leo, it's a beautiful thing. Watch that video. I showed my class 6 children. Because we cannot stop what nature has put. We can only manage it. So when I showed them, in the Laura and Matthew went now and worked with the class teacher, looked for the teacher and got, and then the parents, they planned the engagement in that nursery school. How beautiful it was. Wow. But imagine if the parents beat that child. We don't know what would have happened. But certainly, when he said that, he didn't mean any harm. He didn't mean anything beyond just the words he was using. So most of the times, I would say that is because we are not educated. I tell the girl children, the instinct will be there. And I tell the boy child, if you tell me you don't have the instinct, tell your parents now to take you to hospital for checkup. There must be something wrong with you. But then, if the instincts are there, do we use them anyhow? No. We need to educate you. Seek for help. And we're going to educate you on how you can manage this.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Your program today is so educative. Mr. Leo, honestly, parents are not helping the situation, and unfortunately, teachers' efforts are hardly recognized either by the parents or administrators. When a student parent is a hierarchy, they take any report from the student and react negatively to it towards a teacher. As an administrator, are you supposed to decide the teaching methods to be used by the teachers because your child is in the class? Okay. Good evening, Lucia from Bamenda. Based on your question, I think both parents and teachers are to be held responsible for that. Good evening, Mr. Leo. The topic is indeed educative, and your guest is really expatiating on the topic. I pray all parents and students learn from this lesson. Are teachers empowered and supported enough to discipline students without fear of backlash?
Teachers are not empowered at all. They are not, both by the school and by the community. I would say this, most of the times in the government schools, even some head of schools cannot discipline children, like one of the viewers said, because by the time you're talking, a phone call is coming from outside. I would always say that the process of discipline will not be perfect. There might be loopholes. But if 80% of the discipline is addressing the issue, let's forget about the 20% where the person carrying out the discipline erred. and let us bring the children to focus on the 80%. And that is what happened. One of the schools, a parent called and was saying, if this teacher is the one teaching my class, then I'm removing my child and I'm removing all the parents that I brought. And what I told the proprietors of the school, who was panicking, I said, well, what I would tell that parent if I was talking to her would say, please, during the recruitment, we conducted an interview, and the teachers we have are the ones we found as best. If you know where good teachers are, when coming tomorrow, bring one of them, and we're going to sack this one and replace. Do you know that that teacher told me, he said, Ma'am Debbie, you have empowered me. That sometimes the way these proprietors come and talk to us, the way the head teachers come and talk to us, it's like we just leave our houses to come and be wicked to the children. It's true the teacher erred in the process of bringing discipline, but is that a reason why we should throw the teacher away? Do they know how much it takes a school to find a teacher? One day I brought the president of the PTA, Mr. Leo, in one of the schools I work with. I brought the PTA president. I said, come please, this is recruitment. I want you to sit and observe the exercise we do. Because you parents always think that we go out and just decide to pick a teacher who will not know how to speak English. We go out and pick a teacher who will not know how to mark. We go out and pick a teacher who will not know how to correct children. So come and be with us. And he sat there and saw the process. And I asked him, okay, we want a teacher for class 1. Of these 4, you choose one. He said, Ma, no one. No. I said, okay. So since there is no one qualified, should we leave the classroom empty? We have to go to all of them and try to see who amongst them can be shaped. And in that process of shaping, you parents want to crucify us. So teachers are not empowered at all. Teachers will go through insults from parents, and the head teacher is standing, or the proprietor is standing and watching. Why? Even if the teacher has erred in the process, the teacher needs a platform to be sure that if I do, I will get support. And in the process of doing, if I erred, I will not be left to carry the weight. Once a proprietor told a teacher that if you do that thing, after all, if your parents want to bring problem, I will dismiss you. And when I dismiss you, they will have no link with my school. They will go after you. Mr. Liu, how would you teach if you're the one?
Yeah, but can we also say the teachers are trapped because of the salary situation, their salary situation? The amount I paid them at the end of the month makes them very vulnerable. They are not well dressed. They don't look well fed. For some of them, well shaven, which already sends a picture to the students that these teachers themselves are barely coping and managing. How can they effectively discipline me when I know that I can pay the teacher myself?
That's it. You're just saying, especially in urban towns like Douala. You have just said it, Mr. Lu, as if you were a teacher, as if you were in our shoes. Now, you think of the fact that you have house rents to pay, you have your own children, especially for the male teachers. I usually would say, this teaching, the advantage for me as a woman was that I go with my children to school. I come back with them. It was easy for me to manage them because I see the parents who work with other companies where they have to go and then rush to come and pick the children. That's the advantage for a woman being a teacher in Cameroon. You can go with the kids and you come back with them. You have the same program with them. You can travel with them because all of you are on holiday at the same time. But for the male teacher, when he thinks of the fact that he has been struggling to get something, what he really wants to do, and he didn't get it, and then he has this teaching where he can just secure 50,000 francs from the school as salary, and then get about 4 other private classes at 20,000 that will give him 80,000, and he puts together at the end of the month he has 130,000, and he can manage to pay a house for 50,000, feed his children. He will do everything to preserve that, even if it means allowing a child to poo on his head. Teachers go that far. Because when I try to talk with them, they say, Ma, it's because you don't know. Ma, you don't know. I said, I know. I didn't just get to the top. I started from nursery. I know exactly what you're saying. But what helped me was what I had as opinion of myself. I usually would tell them, I said, please, if you put something in your head, then nobody is going to put something else above your head. So teachers, fill up yourself. It doesn't matter the salaries they give us. We carry value. Put that value, and that value for a teacher is only known by what you deliver. What do you deliver? How do you deliver it? it will affect the way these people will treat you, and the way parents and even the learners will treat you. So for me, the teachers can do something about that, but the description is the reality as of now. Let's do something.
Yeah, but what can teachers do? What are some of the outcome of excessive discipline on children? Because as it is often said, some of them are afraid of backlash that may come either from the students or from the teacher. We have seen teachers tapped. We have seen others beaten. Yes. How do you defend yourself from this? Because it is also getting the more riskier.
Yes, Mr. Leo, I usually would say, like when I saw the video of a female teacher being beaten and the head pulled in Yaoundé by a learner, I said, no, then this teacher didn't go through her training properly, because in the process of the training of educators, we have what we call educational psychology. So you learn a lot of psychology. Like I was saying, I'm trying to keep it simple for everyone because we're reaching out to an audience. But every teacher out there knows exactly the theories I'm talking about. So if you are a teacher and you are unable to read between the lines, Mr. Leo, even your son, when you will speak to that child, when that child was 4, if that child gets to 10, you don't know when to stop. He gets to 18, you don't know when to stop. Imagine your dad standing up now because he gave birth to you to walk into this place where you're trying to put people under control and then talk to you and slap you. It's your dad, there's respect, but there is role relationship that has been violated. So I think that if teachers get their training and they are well trained and they put it to practice, they will know when they need to stop and call for help. And calling for help does not mean you will stand and say, hello teachers, please come, I'm in danger. No, there is a technical way if you are in control. I have looked at a student who is taller than me and I said to the child, you know what? Nobody determines what makes me get angry. You can stay in the class and sleep if you want, and I continue my lesson. At that point, I knew that the child was trying to see how far I would go. And if I had done anything that slapped me, it's my jaw, it's not somebody's jaw. And I'm not ready to be disgraced. So you should know where to stop as a teacher. You should know where to stop. And when you stop like that, the children respect you. The children respect you. We've had the case of an ex-student.
Are you not rather emboldening these guys?
Yeah, no.
You embolden them.
Yeah, you, Mr. Leo, it's possible to bring them under control. There's a very disciplinary principal of my school who took a cane and was whipping a group of boys, whipping each one of them. When he got to one, the guy seized the case from him. You know what? Teachers of today will stupidly want to pull that cane back. But that man didn't pull the cane. He walked out. And all those boys there, they celebrate both of them. They said, Pa na man. Because Pa, you know, say if he hold that cane, for pity for that place. He knew when to stop. So to discipline does not mean you lord over the children, you control them.
When you stop at that level.
Yes.
And you leave the cane with the child.
Yes.
How do you discipline a child, such a child?
Now what happens is that you have left the child in confusion. The child is expecting a reaction from you, and there is no reaction at that point.
Would the child not do that to others?
No. The child can't do again, Mr. Leo. The child can't do again. Because there was an expectation. There was something we were ready to give. And that thing has been frustrated. So the child now is living in that atmosphere. As I usually would tell teachers, that the best expression to give to children is a face without an expression. They should neither see you happy nor sad in the face of discipline. If you are able to manage your facial expression to that point, you leave them in confusion. That's why I'm telling you that the boys in that group, we met at it didn't happen when I was there, but the boys of that group, when they talk about it, they talk about it in respect to that man. They say, yes, we learn from that man that discipline is not control, it's not dictatorship, it's not imposing. Because this man, they say, we wonder how this man, because this guy had said if they try that thing. So he was left in confusion. The man did not address. And there were several times in the boarding school that our discipline master caught children out of bounds and came to school and did not address them until the last day of school. And during that period when he didn't address, the children were shaped. Now there are other cases. Remember I said, every one of us carries something that we inherited from our parents. And the environment gives us. So some children grow in an environment where they don't whip them. They talk to them. So when you bring the cane, they will react differently.
What has changed in this profession, the teaching profession? I remember when I was young and in primary school, even in secondary school,
Yes.
there are teachers who actually took me as their son.
Yes.
The way they interacted, the approach in every aspect,
Yeah.
they saw their child in
you.
us.
Yes.
But I'm not sure they still obtains.
That's why, Mr. Leo, somebody just wrote to us, a televiewer wrote to us and said, when you have children who are 20 going to teach opposite, and they're going to teach opposite not by choice. Like I said, most people who taught you and I, there were people who went to teaching by choice. Because at that time, my father, when he tells us his story, I remember when my younger brother was in the university and he was saying, my dad said, boys of these days are irresponsible. And I said, no, Daddy, you can't say that. That boys of these days, they go to 30 years, they're not married, they're not responsible. You were in Ombe. You were still in school in Form 4. In the technical school. When they came, the government came and looked for you people. And gave you people opportunities to work. And that was what happened with the people of those generations. Everyone who is above 70, that's what happened to them. All of them who got those big jobs, they didn't get it because they were so disciplined and they went out looking for it. But we come now in a generation where people come out more qualified and then they go about looking for, you have sweated, you are tired. So if this teaching thing is the only one, schools are multiplying and they are looking for teachers. If that's the place where I can get something, let me go there. I'm not going there to be a father. I'm not going there to be a mother. I'm going there to find my life. So where do I have money to start taking care of children?
As
Where
a plan B, you just go in there.
Yeah, so they go there, you don't expect that. But these people who made decisions to become teachers, they understood what teaching meant. That teaching would include me giving out myself. It would include me Mr. Leo, I don't know where I went to boarding school like I did. Where I used to, when I think of it now, these house mothers and house fathers did not used to sleep. Something is happening in the girls' dormitory at 2 a.m. they are there.
Yeah,
it happens at 6 a.m.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That is, the teachers took children like
because they chose it. I, Mr. Leo, for example, many people when they watch me on your show, they tell me, come on, you're good on TV. Yeah, I could apply to work on one of the TVs, but I chose to teach. So the way I teach is different. And I always tell teachers, I chose teaching. And you know my best part of teaching is the early years. I don't care the qualification I have. I want to go to the foundation because I realize that the troubles we have at OH started from the foundation. So I want to be there at that period when they are being shaped. And I try to educate the parents. I love to teach nursery, especially nursery 2, when they are beginning to shape their reasoning and shape their minds. So you can't compare me and my attitude with another person who look for jobs and look for opportunities and did not have. So it's a different thing. With at least I'm not the best of speakers, but if I wanted to be an influencer, at least with my voice, you know that I could be an influencer. But that is not what I chose to teach. But many people who are in teaching did not choose to teach. So it's a whole different ball game, Mr. Leo. They can't be parents because they themselves are seeking for comfort. They are seeking for acceptance. They are seeking for self-reliance. They're seeking for so many things. So what they don't have, they can't give.
Okay, you can't actually give what you don't have. Yes, but can we also say that we have failed in teaching values like self-respect, dignity, and responsibility to our children, both at home and in school, as parents and as teachers?
Very true, Mr. Leo. We have failed in teaching those values because, again, like we said earlier in this program, social media comes to give us a fake reality. We watch episodes where a child on social media says, all of these things started gradually in things like Family Matters, those things that we watch. When you see a child say to another, "Dad, don't you gonna call me, Dad? Don't call me, don't call my name, or don't talk to me, Dad." And it started like a joke, and then we were observing, and then for us that was the ideal way. And then you tell a child, "Hello, guy." My dad never called my brothers guy, but today we parents call our children, "Hello, guy," "Hello," you know. So gradually we observed, we started imitating without knowing, and then we started modeling a new structure for bringing up children that took away respect. Hey, How would it even start? How would it even start, Mr. Lu, for you to walk into, for me to come and visit your elder sister and then send my hand to shake your mother? It wouldn't happen. But now we see, oh, daddies and their sons, they will be doing, how do they call this thing? They give knuckles and then they go, yeah, yeah, because we see on social media. And then the child now is not giving the guidelines to draw the lines. So he goes to school, he wants to do the same with the teacher, he wants to do the same with the father's friend who comes to the house, and there is all this confusion because children don't know. They are not given guidelines on this behavior is appropriate here and inappropriate on this other spot. So they take what they do in their homes, they carry it to school. You hear somebody who say in school that in our house they don't do that, they don't say that, we don't talk that. No, this is not your house, this is a school. Everyone can bring the way it happens in their house. Or a parent is going to come to school and tell, geez, at the beginning of the school, I had to iron out that issue. A parent will bring food to school and will want the teacher to heat the food in the school and give the child. I said, no. If you want the child to do that, then make sure that the child is able to go to the microwave themselves. A teacher wouldn't do that and then come and sit back and teach the child. What is the difference between the teacher and the nanny? So the rules of respect and everything is not being taught at home. It's not being taught in school properly. It's not being taught in the society. Everything is just mixed up. How many times did these children see people of dignity on TV or on social media engage in acts like fighting? Things that were hard to see in those days. How could you see a teacher fighting on the streets? But today it's not just teachers. We see pastors fighting on the streets. We see two pastors quarreling. And all of this, what do we expect? The children have no models to follow. So they are forming their own models out of all of this.
Now, there is this issue where we are settling, judging from what is coming in from the televiewers, that the parents are as responsible as the teachers to what is happening to our children in school. But what is the place of the church? Because one would want to believe that these children students are also Christians. If the parents are failed and the school is failing, where is the church in all of this?
Mr. Leo, that's the question you and I would ask. Where is the church? When the church today is characterized by men of God who get 3 sisters pregnant, what do you expect? Is the church today, the men of God are characterized by pastors who will sleep with the mother and sleep with the daughter and sleep with the aunt and sleep with the house help, all in one church? It's a pity and a shame. It was a pity and a shame because in those days the church was actually the solution box. I remember in boarding school how the church congregation was managed by men of value. As a grown-up, when we met our principal, I had to ask him. I said, sir, of blessed memory, I said, how did you cope with all of us, these girls, passing through your hands, and we don't have a dirty story of you? He said, because I'm a product of the church. We're told, if you dare, you are put outside. But today, the people who are supposed to teach these teachers what to do, they are the same people who are taking the teachers' wives. They are the same people who are fighting girlfriends with teachers. They are the same people who are... So, Mr. Leo, the church...
Are you not exaggerating here?
I'm not exaggerating. I'm not. We are not here to call names, but I'm not exaggerating.
Are they not preaching the Bible?
Well, they claim to be preaching the Bible. And Jesus said it anyway in the Bible. Jesus said we should not be like those who would say and do differently. They are saying the Bible, but they are not living the Bible. They are not living the Bible. And when the scandals come up, the favorite scripture always is, touch not the anointed. But the anointed can touch others, but they can't touch the anointed. So the church ought to be playing the super ego role of placing the standards, moderating and intervening. But the church too has been infiltrated with a lot of fake, that the few that ought to do the work are all mixed up in the whole thing, that is difficult to identify who to bring. How many times have people brought in servants of God in quotes, be they pastors, priests, or whatever, in a home to help deal with delinquency, and then they take advantage of the situation and rather get the delinquent more delinquent.
Okay.
So people are desperate.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. We cannot completely blame the teachers for what is happening in our schools, but can you guest comment on the issue of teachers drinking or going out with students.
Good. Exactly, that's what I was telling you here. That a televiewer said, if you have a 21-year-old with first degree from the University of Buea, with good diction, he happens to shave his hair neat, he has to teach opposite English, where there is all the poems, we have all the poems of ecstasy and all those Sally Garden poems, he has to teach them. What do you expect? There is already raw material for him to attract these girls who are still struggling to find themselves and identify themselves. And then the girl comes, and this teacher has not eaten since morning, and the girl comes and says, okay, please sir, can you just have a bite? And the teacher takes it because he's hungry. If there was a school canteen for teachers where the teacher could go there and sit responsibly and the provision made for him to eat, then there could be a rule that if any teacher is eating out of school, there will be, but you don't provide what to eat, so you can't control where I eat and how I eat. So teachers themselves, I have to say, they need to step up and add value to themselves so that they will not be rubbing themselves in this mud that everyone else is finding themselves today. I mean, it's a pity, but that's the reality.
That's the reality. And good evening, Mr. Leo. We are glad for the program. Thank you very much for watching also and contributing. Please take my magic button. That will serve as a fast way out of the pathetic situation. We fuse the following ministries: basic secondary education, social affairs, women and family and employment and vocational training. Now call it national education. They become departments, but where is the political will for this silent voice? Okay. Good evening to you. Just wish to congratulate you for the wonderful work and education you are giving our community. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love this program so much. I wish this man should be the Minister of Education in Cameroon.
Oh my God,
this
thank you.
Good evening. I love the teaching, but I have abandoned it because the teaching, salary, and immoral behavior in schools is scary. Me. Alain is writing from Elon, but you just raised the issue of young teachers engaging in amorous relationships with young girls.
Yes.
Is it only an affair of young teachers? I was in secondary school and personally had issues with my teachers because of some ladies. Yes. So they were not young teachers severally, and we knew of so many teachers who were going out with their students. Others ended up getting married to them. So it's not necessarily an affair of young guys who just graduated and are in schools.
Yeah, Mr. Liu, you've touched the point. I was going to say it. This is what I say. In the teaching field, primary school teachers marry colleagues. That's a tendency. So you employ a set of young teachers. Before you know it, this one, they say you don't date, this one is dating this one, and then they have to terminate one of them, they call them, and the next is that they get married. And in secondary school, even from my time, the tendency was that teachers got students to marry. I have my classmate of mine who got married to one of our teachers. So, but this one of them just hanging around, and again, like I say, social media is a danger to this generation. I wish that we educate them on this, because like you said, maybe the teachers were doing it, but we were not aware because there was no means for it to be projected. There was no way somebody could go and snap. It's just today, Mr. Leo, at the school where I was working, I was telling the children that these pictures that we are taking, since we had an activity, we're snapping them, and we take 50 pictures. I said, no, when I was growing up, there was something called film. I told them, I said, so if you snap while you miss it, whether your leg was looking left, you will pay for a second one. They said, what? I said, yes, they used to snap until the camera would refuse to snap. So this one we take 50 pictures. So who had that money to go about to be snapping what somebody is doing and then go to print it? You spend that money to print and come and be showing people. All of that was, but technology has developed such that we can see these things today. The population is larger. So again, whether the teachers of those days were doing it, we are not aware. Today, the population is larger. The younger generation have means of projecting what they are doing, and we have to stand out to say, no, there is something not right. Something needs to be done. And in those days, once the teacher was found, the teacher was dismissed, and the community did not even permit such a teacher to live around. They didn't come out to lynch you, but the way they would treat you, you will run away from that place. But today, well, parents themselves, I wonder how a parent will take an opposite teacher, a male teacher who is in his 20s, to come and be teaching their girl child at home who is 18 and doing A-levels when both parents are not around. What do you expect? Like we said, you and I was telling those my grade 6 children, I asked them, I said, okay, as we're here, can somebody tell me at what time they will feel as to go drink water or to go wee or to go poo? They said no. I said the same thing with the sexual instinct. Sometimes we sit in class here and we're not thinking about food, and somebody's cooking in the house, and then we just get the aroma and then, oh, who is cooking bongo chobi? And all of a sudden you're hungry. I told them, I said, so when you go to secondary school, there are things that would come to arouse your feeling. So what you have to do is, just as we will not stop teaching to go and look for that person's house, is that you would need to control your thoughts and move out of a place if possible to manage it. So I think that maybe it was in those days, but today, unfortunately, social media is showing us. If there was no social media, we are not in that school, we would never have known. They would have beaten those girls or those other children smoking in their schools. They would have ended there. But today, in Cameroon, in Nigeria, in America,
yeah, but now, when we see what these girls are doing in school, with so much boldness, and can we not also say that they do this because their male teachers are frolicking with them? So how do you even discipline ladies, girls that you're sleeping with? If you're a teacher in a school who has slept with at least 8 students, it is common knowledge that this is known by at least 200 other students, because they know, they gossip, they talk about it, and you find yourself, especially when you know that 50 students are aware, how do you discipline them?
Well, my history teacher, who was also the discipline master, used to say to the boys, they gave us these moral lessons all the time, that once a woman knows how you rest your head on the bed, she has no respect for you. And I'm sure that now I know that was big talk. Once a teacher has made a mistake, to let a girl child know, or when a girl, because even boys are being abused today, to just know how you rest your head on the pillow, they know that she and everyone around them can't respect you, because they have something that if you dare, they will blow it out. And every one of them has somebody too that is dear to them that they have told. And like you say, it becomes a chain. So because of such relationships, discipline becomes challenging in schools. And again, I say, how did we get there? Because of TV. We have all these things, all these in fact, we said, these children, what I told the children was that when we were younger, TV used to start and close. They were like, what? I said, yes, it used to start at 6 p.m. But today, there is nothing like kids or parental guidance, because when it's nighttime in Cameroon, it's daytime somewhere else. So when it's daytime here, what they are showing in their country that is nighttime, for adults who are there, kids here have access to it because of technology, because of civilization, or whatever we want to call. So we see these things, movies that people act because they want to attract attention, they want to get people to buy their movies, and they make a teacher starts out as a hero where 6 girls are fighting for in the school and this and then a young teacher too wants to depict that, and then the girl or a girl child who stands out in a movie because she was dating a teacher, and then someone else wants to depict that. So all of this, the social media, the environment, like I said, with nature and nurture, the environment has nurtured things in them that is only coming out as a consequence. So there is no way we're going to deal with the consequences when the roots are still there. You cut the branches, if the root is there, new branches will grow.
Okay. What legal or administrative action should be taken against those who produce and circulate such videos? Because we're talking about this because some people, but of course, we are talking about the students, because they themselves take it.
Good.
And they circulate it,
Good. That's what I was saying, Mr. Leo. Where they are, they don't yet think of consequences. You just said the story, or no, you just read the guy who said he was in Form 5. He was behaving, and a teacher called him and gave him the consequence of what happened. Now these children don't know. The guy or the girl who forwarded this on media does not know the legal implication. That this girl can grow up and sue him and send him to jail even if he has succeeded. If someone does not tell them, they will not know. That's why I keep saying we need to intervene through the PTA. We need to intervene through seminars or moral educations for teenagers in schools, for them to understand the implication. For them, it is fun. Okay, you've just sent a video, it is fun. But they don't know that this video you have said can be the very reason why you were supposed to win an election and you will lose it. Because someone is going to bring it out. If we don't tell them, they don't know, Mr. Leo. If it's done by an adult, immediately if I'm the girl's child, parent, I can sue you. But you take you're going to sue a minor, they're only going to, they can't send him to jail. They can't. So somebody just needs to educate them. For them, it's fun. For them, it's fun. Even the girls, when they sit there and they're snapping them, it's fun. Mr. Leo, do you see me at this my age? That if I'm doing something with a man somewhere, I will allow a camera to snap me. Why? Because I know the consequences. But they don't know consequences. So for them, it is show, it is bragging. So they stand and they are snapping and they're happy, hey. But give them 2 years.
Okay.
Leave the same girls.
Now, how can schools partner with parents, to better supervise students outside the classroom?
The way, first thing, the way schools can partner is, since schools are the professional, they should organize professional meetings with parents.
Okay.
And that's why I say we need to review the PTAs. We need to put strategies in place to help parents to read between the lines, how to manage certain behavior. There are times, Mr. Leo, that I've told you that I've succeeded with many of these children. What do? I tell the child, I'm not going to let your parent know what we are talking about. And I tell the parent, I have told the child, I'm not going to let you know. So can you respect that for this work to be effective? And as the work is going, I get to make the child at some point to understand why it's important for the parent to know certain things. And I'll tell them, okay, if you don't want them to know this part, we can still keep this confidential. But remember, I am just a teacher. If I get a better job, I may go. But the one who is going to be there forever is your parent. So can we go this extent? And when we go, and before we know it, they have gone all the extents, because it is fear often. Like I said, it is fear that breeds these multiple personalities, multiple characters in children, that at home they are different, in school they are different, with their friends they are different. So if schools would, as professionals, engage parents in activities, help them with this thing of holiday classes, is one thing that I have talked about. I said, instead of doing holiday classes, we should be finding holiday activities that will help parents to manage the children. Because when we say holiday classes, teachers know it's holiday. They need rest. I'm a teacher. We need rest. So no serious classes like learning can be going on. So these children come. This is a platform where they come and they have time. During school time, they come in uniforms. Now it's holiday time. Mommy has gone to work. They have time to wear a crop top and come. And no teacher can talk because it's holiday time. So the way is, as professionals, let school administrators, let school founders and owners, let government policy put in place activities that will utilize the teenage, which is the active age. The principle of Howard Gardner, multiple intelligence, can help. Outside the classroom, what else can this child do? Mr. Leo, a guy who has basketball skills and is playing basketball and has provision to play basketball 4 times a week will not have time to drink alcohol, because they will see the effect of alcohol on their basketball, and they will not. So schools, let's get professional, set up units, set up interventions for parents, for children, to help them, for the society, propose meaningful policies. And those sitting on the policy seats, please don't just have the policies written there. Go through them and see. Sometimes, Mr. Leo, you pick up a book and you're seeing something that is not existing, still being taught today. I saw in a book, a Form 5 book, SJBC. Do we have SJBC Bank in Cameroon? How can SJBC be given as an example of a private bank in Cameroon? Do we have SJBC in this Cameroon today? But that's what is. So let the policymakers don't just send it. Let them review and see whether what they are sending out is still valid for today's complexity.
Okay. Should moral and civic education be reinforced in school curriculum?
Of course, sure. Moral and civic education, because where my freedom ends, another man's freedom begins. And where my power stops, another man's power, and all of that can only be taught. It can only be taught from the base, little activities. One of the biggest problems we have, Mr. Leo, is even from the very foundation. Play is taken away from children. And this human feeling, as we call it locally, this human feeling that you and I have was gotten from play. When you were playing with your friend, you want to open the tomato tin to cook and it hurt your friend and you had time to say sorry. Today you see children 2 years old in nurseries. They have big books. Everybody wants to write. The parents want to see the children write. They want to see 2 years old, what is the child writing? I asked a teacher once, I said, this nursery exam you have said this one is the first. Does this child know what they have written? You read the question for them. You interpret it for them. So how are they first? So let us bring back those things that were the priority. Songs, singing and dancing. A lot was taught through songs when we were growing up. So from the base, we can bring back those things. And from around class 1, class 2, we taught some simple things like the implication of not saying good morning. And we went right up to, by the time you got to class 4, you were taught what will happen if you don't do this. And if you do this, what will happen? All of that can only be done through moral education and civic education. It cannot be done through social geography. You go now, the social studies has just been limited to geography and history, where you have to climb the heights of mountains and so on and reproduce. Moral education in secondary schools, in primary schools, even in the university. We need all of that to keep this generation in order, because those who are in the university now, they went through a period where moral education was taken away from school. So we need to do something about that, Mr. Leo.
Now, how do you correct the problem without destroying the future of the students involved?
How do you correct the problem
without
destroying the
so
future?
many of them are into it. We see female students involved in this.
Good.
We see smoking, heavy smoking,
Good.
drinking, not just drinking, they drink wine in classes. Yeah.
Where do they get it in the first place? Where does it come from? Where does the money come from? It's all of those questions. The way we can do it without destroying the future is exactly what the farmers do.
Okay.
The farmers, when they plant, they calculate at what time they'll harvest. So they check the distance between the A and the Z. There is the B to the Y. So when you are teaching them the A, you're telling them we're going to the Z, but you help them to manage the B to the Y. How do we tell them to manage? Like I told you, when I show a video to class 6 children who are 9 years, now we have somebody 8 years old in class 6, about Laura and math. Don't you think, Mr. Leo, I've managed, if every teacher would do what I did, we have helped them to manage emotions. First, they know it's not a crime to have that feeling. They know it happens to everybody. Because sometimes, when these emotions start troubling them, they think they are abnormal. Then it's a surprise when they identify with someone. Okay, you too, yeah, you too. I didn't know, I thought I was the only one. So in that thing, they start exploring as novice, all of them, what they are experiencing. But if we would take time to prepare them for that gap, still with another school, I was doing with them the 7 habits of highly effective people. Now, you know, I showed them I went to social media because we said we cannot exclude. I told them, I said, go home, ask your parents to look for. This is a big book. I showed them the 7 habits of being of highly effective people. And I said, point number 1, they say you must be proactive. What does it mean to be proactive? It means you are in charge of yourself. And what does it mean to be in charge of yourself? One, you're not going to give excuses. If you don't do homework, you have not done homework. I told them, Bill Gates has 24 hours. Me, your madam, has 24 hours. In my 24 hours, if it's 50,000 I get, it means that's what I was able to make. In Bill Gates' 24 hours, if he's able to get all the billions he has, it's because he made use. Somebody trained him. Somebody trained me. So my training has given me 50,000. His own training gave him billions. So by saying this, what have I done? I have made them to know that as you're entering secondary school, you have the power to shape and control certain things. And in the other hand, I tell them, there are things that you will never be able to control. I said, number one, can you tell me what I'm thinking about you now? No. Mr. Leo, you don't even know what I'm thinking about you. And you can't control that. I may tell you I don't like you, and you start explaining. Your explanation will not change. It wouldn't change. Has no control of what I am thinking. If I think you are a useless man, that is what I think. And if you want to spend your time explaining to me that you're not useless, that's your business. Because after the explanation for 6 years, I can still choose not to see you as a useful man. So I prepared them. Now, this is not what is in the curriculum. But I was privileged to start off my teaching in the background with Americans. That gave me an insight that, no, these people are not different. It's simply that they are just bringing out what went in. So I give in what I want to come out. And I know someday when I'll be old, I told them, I said, one of you will give this story that I managed my teenage because a woman told me that the sexual instinct is normal, but I can control it. Nobody told us that. Nobody's telling most of them out there. You just knew it was a strange thing that you struggled to manage the way you could with your friends, this one sharing their experience, this one, and at the end, when two novices meet, what do you expect? Nothing fruitful.
Nothing fruitful. If you were to advise the Minister of Secondary Education on what is happening in our campus system, what would you tell her as at the end of tonight's edition of the program?
If I were to say something to the minister, first of all, it would be an honor, and I'm going to say Mr. Minister or Madam Minister, whoever will be there at the time when they're hearing this. I would say the first thing is we need to review the curriculum. That's the first thing. We need to review the curriculum and give value to things that build value. Because a lot of value is given to things that are not valuable. So the children go for those things. And as a result, the gaps that are left unattended, they drain out the value in what we thought was valuable. So review the curriculum. Bring in things that will address issues of the heart. Bring in things that will follow principles, that will follow theories like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What need are you addressing per time? Bring out things that will address issues like what Erickson put out, this identity crisis. How do I help them? Change the method of assessment. Because if we are poorly assessing them in the classroom and their friends are assessing them in the way that appeals to the needs of teenage, then they will follow their friends. So let's change the curriculum. One, let us bring in extracurricular activities that will address the energy, not the one that we are doing now that, okay, a school may organize taekwondo or nambudu and then the children have to pay. Let it be part of what the government is offering as a management or coping strategy of teenage energy, because the energy is there. The children didn't look for it. And finally, I would say review the training. Because the teachers training program of today is still teachers training program of 1960, whereas the times are different. In 1960, there were no AIs. Today, there's AI. So we need to review the package that we give to teachers. How do they manage behavior? How do they interact with parents? How do they engage parents? What is the commitment strategy? And with that, if that is done...
Should the government go further to look into the treatment reserved for teachers in the private sector?
Very true. That is something that if they address the economic situation of the teachers as a whole, but the private sector especially in particular, that would regulate a lot of problems, because the government will be able to question certain things. But now if they are not having a hand there, they can't question.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Bunya, for accepting our invitation to be part of tonight's edition of Primer.
It's always a pleasure, Mr. Leo, and you know exactly where to bring me. And you know my passion, and I'm just so happy whenever we have to talk about education. And there is still more we're going to do about this education thing. We have to do something. And since social media is winning, we're going to use social media. My Media Prime is a big instrument. I'm surprised sometimes. You know, you've made me famous. I go about and people greet me, and I'm like, oh, where do I know you? And I say, hey, My Media Prime. So hey to all of you out there.
Thank you guys for watching this edition of the program, especially to you. LI4 Production. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.